Plan to bring that agreement to City Council on October 2nd for acceptance and appropriation. Following approval, the grant agreement will then be sent to HUD. Once our grant agreement is finalized, we will expect the initial Sunrise St. Pete programs to launch in early 2026. The programs expected to launch are residential recovery and elevation programs and our disaster relief reimbursement program. In compliance with federal requirements, Sunrise St. Pete prioritizes income-eligible homeowners, ensuring that 70% of the funds benefit low to moderate income households. More information on Sunrise St. Pete is available at sunrisestpete.org. In the last year, we've also been focused on increasing our infrastructure strength and resiliency against future disasters. The impacts from last year's hurricanes made it painfully evident that the impacts of climate change have exceeded prior projections and that we needed to adapt our plan. This time last year, we were concerned about our city facilities' ability to handle the record predicted storm surge and how seriously our facilities would be damaged or even made inoperable. We do not want to be in that position again. So in response, we launched the St. Pete Agile Resilience Plan, or SPAR, to accelerate resiliency projects designed to harden the city's infrastructure. We've already made significant progress on some of these projects, and I'd like to highlight a few. The aqua fence at Lift Station 85, installing flood panels at the Northeast Water Treatment Facility, installing mobile pumps and trailers at lift stations throughout the city, launching our private lateral rebate program, and elevating critical equipment at our water reclamation facilities. These accomplishments barely scratch the surface of what Public Works has been working on and has accomplished. And I encourage you to view the full list of SPAR projects on our website at stpete.org/SPAR, S-P-A-R, and learn more about how the city is working to increase our resiliency against future disasters. I also want to provide a quick update on our post-disaster emergency permits. As one of the last municipalities to waive permit fees for post-disaster emergency permits, we've waived $2.9 million in permit fees to date. We've issued more than 14,500 post-disaster emergency permits. The total construction value from our post-disaster emergency permits is approximately $299 million. We anticipate that we'll be back to normal blue sky review times by the end of this month. And finally, let's talk about Tropicana Field repairs. We all remember that picture of the roofless Tropicana Field Stadium after the storms. That image really captures the violence of the storms and the significance of the impact. However, a year later, we have made significant progress on our repairs and anticipate the stadium will be ready for the 2026 season. I've been able to get a behind-the-scenes look at the repairs, and I truly admire the workers who you probably see working now, who are fearlessly repairing this roof and very skillfully. 6 roof panels have been successfully installed. I thought I counted 7 on the way in. I know they're working on 2. Are we up to 8? Up to 8. In terms of non-roof repairs, we've submitted permit drawings for interior repairs, and those are currently under review. We anticipate that the roof installation will be completed by the end of the year and will start on turf installation and other major interior work at that time. And again, we anticipate the entire project will be completed by April 2026. And kudos to our team and our contractors. In closing, overall, you'll see it's been a busy year since Hurricanes Helene and Milton impacted our community. I want to thank our city staff for their dedication, tenacity, and perseverance. They've worked to rebuild our community as many were rebuilding their own lives and homes. They've accomplished this monumental feat while also balancing their other everyday responsibilities in the city. We will never forget the lasting impacts these storms had on St. Pete, and I'm honored to be here with you today as we reflect on the last year. I'll now turn it over to Fire Rescue Chief Watts, who has some exciting things to share regarding our brand new water rescue vehicles. And after Chief Watts, we'll hear from our Chair Copley Gertis to highlight some of the community innovators that I mentioned earlier. It's been a long year. It's been a productive year. I couldn't be more proud of our St. Pete team. We are St. Pete. Chief Watts.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. 1 year after Hurricane Helene challenged our community, St. Petersburg Fire Rescue is proud to announce a significant upgrade in our ability to serve our community during future storms. Helene brought unprecedented high water rescues, which highlighted the need for enhanced capabilities. That experience drove change, leading to the acquisition of these specialized high water rescue vehicles. These vehicles are true game changers, designed specifically to meet the unique needs of our community in high water conditions. Equipped with lift gates, they provide a safe and stable way to transfer our citizens, especially those with mobility challenges, and they also ensure a safer working environment for our responders. These multifaceted vehicles dramatically improve our service. They can move through flooded neighborhoods, establish critical water supplies in areas cut off from traditional resources, and safely transport residents and responders. We're strategically deploying these vehicles based on historical data and can reposition them rapidly as conditions evolve. This investment directly addresses the lessons of Hurricane Helene, ensuring that when our city faces rising waters again, your St. Petersburg Fire Rescue is more capable, more flexible, and more resilient. For you, our residents, this means faster and safer rescues and greater peace of mind, knowing that your St. Petersburg Fire Rescue is prepared to better serve your needs in any emergency. St. Petersburg Fire Rescue stands ready, stronger, safer, and more capable than ever before. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to everyone involved who played a role in securing these essential vehicles for our community. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Council Chair Gertis.
Good morning, everybody. So before I start my comments, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about a year ago this morning. And I want you to imagine, maybe you were lucky enough to wake up in your own bed that morning. But there were some people who woke up in their bed and water was on their floor. They were on their kitchen counters. Maybe they were miles away at a friend's house or a VRBO or a hotel because they evacuated. Some of the staff here today woke up in EOC. Our emergency management department were out in the streets inspecting to make sure that it was safe for our residents to use those roads, to get to a hospital, to get to food, to get to gas. That's what that morning looked like. Now fast forward to this morning. The sun's out. It's a beautiful day, right? But we still have people not in their homes. We still have people in campers in their front yards and VRBOs on friends' couches. Let us not forget that. Let us not forget that. It's hard to believe that it's already been a year since Hurricane Helene. And while we're still finding our footing from that storm, Hurricane Milton struck soon after. For many of us, it feels just like yesterday. And in truth, the impacts of both Helene and Milton are still being felt across our community, just like I said a second ago. Even today, many are still recovering, rebuilding, and working to put their lives back together. First, I want to begin by recognizing my colleagues at City Council who have demonstrated time and time again their ability to come together, focus on the issues at hand, and ensure our city recovers stronger than before. And these trucks, Tropicana Field behind you, are just a few examples, and I'll talk about a few more in a minute. That spirit of unity has been essential in guiding our community through some of its most difficult days. I remember driving around the city the day after Helene, and specifically in District 1, I saw firsthand the damage these storms did to the hearts and souls of our community, not just their homes and their property. It was astounding. And in that moment, it became very clear to me just how much work lay ahead of us. But in that immense uncertainty, I saw something truly remarkable. Neighbors helping neighbors clean up their yards. Strangers checking in on one another. Acts of kindness and generosity beyond compare. In a moment that could have felt dark and overwhelming, the best of humanity shined through in the city of St. Petersburg, like the sunshine did the next morning after the storm. And Mayor, I have to say, Sunrise St. Pete is the perfect name for our disaster recovery dollars, because the sun will continue to rise in St. Petersburg. Fast forward a year. I couldn't be more proud of staff. I will double down on this. I could not be more proud of staff. The departments across the city, there are too many to name, that went day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute to make sure that our community was safe, is one of the most remarkable things I have ever seen in my life. I want to give one shout out, like I did a couple of weeks ago, to our codes department. Our codes department in a normal year sees about 35,000 codes violations. This year to date, they are dealing with 55,000 because of continued investment in the storms from a year ago. That means over the last year, they have not been able to do the regular work of their department. They continue to invest on storms that happened a year ago. I could not be more proud of that department. Together, we've removed 2.1 million cubic yards of debris. You've heard me describe that. I won't do it again. We've installed an aqua fence at Lift Station 85. Greenlit high water vehicles. Vice Chair Hanowitz, thank you for your leadership on that. And hardened the Northeast Water Reclamation Facility. You've heard me say it before. It's not how hard you get hit. It's how hard you can take the hit. But our recovery has not been led by government alone. The back-to-back hurricanes demonstrated the strength and resilience of the St. Petersburg community itself. Over the last year, many local organizations have stepped up, finding innovative ways to support families, rebuild neighborhoods, and reimagine what recovery looks like for all of us. Today, I want to highlight some of those recovery innovators who have joined us today. And if you would please stand. Radio St. Pete, Sarah Hips, Show Up Relief Alliance, I Care, Disha Marshall with Kenwood Neighborhood Association, Matt Thorne with Shore Acres Neighborhood Association. Personally, from me, all of you, we could not have done it without you. Frankly, I would not have wanted to do it without you. Thank you for your partnership and your continued investment into the resiliency of this community. The work is not done, but as I look around, I can see the sun rising. I can see things moving forward. And as we carry the lessons we've leaned into today, into the future, we continue to shape the decisions that make our city safer, stronger, and more resilient. Thank you.
That concludes our press conference. We'd be happy to take any questions you might have. Hi. You know what? I guess the logistics. Can you say that again, like louder? So we think we've got a handle. It's the high water bills is what you're asking. So we've got a handle on that. It was a combination of metering, the impact where some of the houses were unreadable, old technology that was used for estimating. So that combination really caused that spike. With 95,000 accounts, you're going to have always some high water bills. In fact, we have a bill commission that reviews those. So we think we've got a handle on the causes. In between new meters, the new system, the Tyler system that will replace Navaline, which is a a legacy system. We think we've got a handle going forward, and also the changes that we made in the code with City Council's support give us a much more flexibility in dealing on those one-off cases that seem, you know, illogical. Why can't you deal with a $1,000 bill? Well, the code restricted us in some cases. All those things have been in place, so we think we've got a handle on it. There will still be high water bills when you've got almost 100,000 accounts, and we think we've got a way to deal with those on an individual basis. Well, like I said, it's a case-by-case basis. We've done all the things that I just outlined. If someone has an issue, contact my office if you can't get a hold of anyone else, and we'll take a look at it. But each case is really different. We are looking at that as a priority. We've been committed to that, and we'll continue to be committed to it. Yeah. You want to? Okay. Assistant Administrator Tom Green has some comments on that.
Good morning. To the mayor's point, you know, we track and monitor a couple of different metrics with respect to bills. And one of them, or a combination of them, is 2 times and 4 times the 3-month prior average. And so the numbers that we're seeing show that we have normalized to pre-storm readings from, let's take July of 24. The numbers in July of 25 are very similar with respect to 2 times and 4 times the 3 months prior consumption. So we believe that it's normalized. There are certainly cases, individual cases that we're working with customers on, but the 2 times and 4 times has normalized to pre-storm. Yeah. And we're working through all those individual cases on a case-by-case basis. It's really difficult to answer all of those at one time, but we are working with our customers to address those issues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chief?
So I will bring up Deputy Chief Brett Siskowski, who can answer in detail more about the high water vehicles and the number of rescues that we had last year.
Thank you. I'm sorry, from standing over there, I didn't hear your question. If you could just repeat it. Sure, absolutely. So during Hurricane Helene itself, we had 430 citizens that we rescued using our one high water vehicle that we had at the time, and then we were borrowing from other departments within the city, dump trucks. These vehicles themselves can go into 4 feet of water. As you can see, the exhaust is snorkeled out. So that's the highest safe distance that we can bring these vehicles into. So we have 3 new, and we had 1 existing, and with City Council's assistance, we were able to acquire the 3 new ones for approximately $300,000. 2 of the 3 will have fire pumps on them, with the capability of taking that pump off at a moment's notice if we need additional citizen transport units. Yeah, so we did have areas of the city that were inaccessible to our normal fire vehicles, normal fire engines. So adding these to our fleet is going to make us be able to respond to those areas that are flooded out. They do have fire pumps, they do have water tanks, fire hose, and then the ability to draft from a static water supply. So if we're in an area that has standing water, we can drop that drafting strainer in and use that as our hydrant. So the capabilities to attack a fire in those situations, that's something that we've added that we didn't have the capability as of before. Milton was a different storm, and we had the unprecedented rain with Milton, but the rescues for Milton was between 75 and 100. Helene, in that 3-hour period, we had 430. We were just inundated.
Mayor, hi. Wanted to ask, I think you mentioned $40 million in FEMA reimbursement. Is any of that for Tropicana Field?
Let me ask Tom to come up here. give you the answer on that.
No, none of those are no zero of that is for Tropicana Field. We're still in the process of, as you can see, it's under construction. And when this project is completed, then we will have all the information that we can submit to FEMA for reimbursement. But we have been in long time communication with FEMA in the state of Florida, FDEM, to ensure that we're in the right position so that when we are concluded with the project, to submit that for reimbursement.
Okay, so that would be submitted next year.
When the project is completed, yes.
Okay, and is there a limit on you'd have to get a response within a year or a calendar year? Or what's kind of the time frame for reimbursement?
That is a very good question, and it really varies. It is so hard to forecast how quickly projects move through the process. Mayor mentioned in his opening remarks that some of the reimbursements we got were for things that we did prior to the storm. So sometimes those projects move very quickly. On big projects like this, it'll probably take longer just because of all the moving parts and all the different pieces of analysis that needs to go into it.
Thank you. What is the backup plan just in case Tropicana Field is not ready by opening day?
I'm not sure there is one. We're going to do everything we can to make sure it's ready. If it's not, if there's some act of God, then we'll have to adjust to that. But we plan to be ready for, I don't know if it's opening day per se. I think they open at home. Right.
Yeah, home opening.
Right. But everything is on schedule. Don't jinx it, Colleen. But, you know, the plan is to have it ready. If there's an act of God, we'll deal with it.
Okay. And do you have have you met with the new prospective buyers yet, or do you have a meeting scheduled?
As soon as it's appropriate for us to do so, after the sale is finalized, we will.
Are there any other questions?
I think it's a positive development. I know they have a future here through at least 2028. I think they'll probably have a future here beyond that, just given logistics, even if they do want to move. So we're looking forward to having a conversation with them about what their priorities are, what ours are. But this other 60 acres to the east of Brooker Creek, due to our staff's work and the termination agreements, we want to start moving on that and turning this pavement into jobs and housing has been the promise. So I think it's a positive development. We look forward to the conversation. Absolutely. I'm sure Beth has all kinds of spreadsheets on that. Absolutely. Any other questions? Yeah. We've done a heck of a lot even before the storms in our permitting office. We had a business process improvement project that, for example, created the ombuds person, had created some online access. That was before the storms. And certainly after that, we've augmented staff. We've done everything we could possibly do, as you know, those examiners and inspectors were in wide demand across the Southeast. So yeah, our team has done a lot to try to meet really an unprecedented need in permitting. Any other questions? I know y'all are hot, but all right. Thank y'all for being here, and we're moving forward as a city. Thank you.
Saludos amigos de tampahoy.com. Mi nombre es José Ángel Acevedo y me encuentro aquí desde nuestra redacción. En estos momentos estábamos viendo la conferencia de prensa del alcalde de San Pete, que en estos momentos estaba hablando sobre el aniversario de el huracán Helene y también la destrucción. En esta conferencia de prensa pudimos ver varios líderes de la ciudad de San Pete que estuvieron hablando y también felicitando, agradeciendo también a todas esas personas que han sido de alguna manera parte de la recuperación de los destrozos y de la destrucción que creó este sistema hace un año. Así que nos vemos en tampahoy.com durante el día. Mi nombre es José Ángel Acevedo y gracias por acompañarnos.